Hello and welcome. Today is the 25th day of September 2019, and I want to talk about playing the baby Satoshi market. Really, it's pretty simple and easy. Simple, easy, same thing. But just go over it. Of course, it's your own risk, your own reward. Obviously, with any of these coins like this is Wink. It's high risk, high reward. High reward is in, well, this thing go to 9, 20, 50, 60. There was a lot of coins last year, 2 years ago, that I was playing a little bit like this strategy, and they would take off. Coins like DGB and LITECOIN, I think, were a couple of them, and they traded these low numbers. So, a couple, first before we go over the strategy, let's try to understand the markets, how the candles look on this, and how the order books would work, because that's where it gets really important. And when we see what's been going on here on the daily chart, what do these candles mean? Well, on a red candle, the open is the high end. On a green candle, the open is at the bottom. When you see these lines like this, that means the price action within that period did manage to reach that level. And then where it closes, well, if there's a line like this, that means it closed where it did last time, and then it close here, close here. So when you see it like this, it's pretty obvious to know that the bid ask for days has been 3 and 4. So if you want to buy and you just want to get your coins right now, you have to pay the price of 4 Satoshi. And if you want to sell your coins and you want your Bitcoin right now, you have to pay it at a price of 3 Satoshi. So the way I would look at this before going over the strategy again is, well, first, let's look at the market movements. This came out August the 1st. It did go up to 9 within the day, as low as 4, and it closed at 5. The next day it went up to, yeah, well, the first trade was at 4, went back to 5, and it managed to go down to 3, and it's been trading in 3 and 4 for most of these days. It did dip below here, so we had a 2 and 3 bid ask for about 3 or so days, and well, it's going to leave this, and we're going to go to a 4-5 or a 3-2, and it could have a nice little gain where instantly it goes to 7, 8, 9, 12. Those things can easily happen. So then, as far as strategy is concerned, the first part is the short-term buys. The simple part is, one, you buy a little bit now at the 4 price, and then you get your order in now to sell at 5. The differential in the move is 1 basis point. It's also 25%. And on 3, you would put a buy order. But we got order priority. There's going to be a several amount of Bitcoins on every single handle. And you're going to have to wait your turn. And through all of this, how many times? The key thing is, if you were to do this back in here, okay, you have your buy order at 3, and then every time you buy, you put your sell order at 4. That's basically what you're doing. How often? I can't give the answer. I don't know any way. I don't think there's any way of me knowing how I could, of how well you would have been doing in this if that's all you've been doing is trying to have your buy orders fill. When that's the case, you have to wait your turn for them to hit, and it can take days. And then you put your sell order. Now you have to wait your turn for it to sell. So yeah, lucky, I guess, would be how often you get your orders hit. I'm not too sure. But that's the key point of it. And then if you want, you can put your buy order in for 2 and 3 at the point at this stage as well. Maybe your buy order for 1. And also, if there's going to be some spectacular moves, you want to figure, okay, how many of these coins do I want to have? If it's at 6 Satoshi, at 9, where do I want to put different sell orders? Because I wouldn't mind having some sell orders in here ready to go at this point, maybe at this point, maybe put another wacky sell order in. I think the highest they'll let you go is about 20 or 5 times the price, which is unfortunate, but it is as it is. And then when you just get to those levels, just have a good amount of sales so that if it leaves this area, and then one of the key things you might want to do is, well, if I say sell, I don't know, maybe sell 50,000 of them. If I'm doing a buyback from 4 to 3, then I'm going to be able to buy like, 70 or whatever. I don't know, a lot more. Okay, so you buy that, and then you buy it, and then you sell 50,000 again, or 55,000, which means the other, say you buy 70, you sell 55, those other 15,000 would be used for the higher prices and the better sales. So different strategies. The more creative you can be, I think, is always the better within it. But there are a few coins at the very cheap Satoshi price that are on the market. Looking at this on a 3 hour time frame, we can just see back and forth how often, but technically speaking, you're going to see this on all those time frames because, again, it's just going to flip back and forth between 4 and 3 until it doesn't. And we can see in here that there has been not ever since 3:45 in the morning on August the 12th. So now for like 2 weeks, it has not broken 3 or the 4 handle, and well, it'll stay in there until it doesn't. Another just interesting way of looking at it is within the Binance coin as well. Also figure out, well, if there's a 3-4 and this is 1201, well, where would your better buy be or your better sell? Well, what's the actual price based on this? Well, if this is 1206 Satoshi, what's the actual Binance coin ratio? And that would be about 387 to 1, which means you need 387 Binance to get 1 Bitcoin. So therefore, if it's 387, if you're looking to buy, well, it would be, what's 387 times 4? 1548. It'd be cheaper to actually not spend the 4, but buy, if you don't have Binance Coin, buy the Binance Coin you would normally buy this with instead, and then just buy the coin here. And on the selling situation, if you were looking to sell, well, 3 multiply 387 is 1161. So you get a marginal better selling spot if you sell it on the Binance coin, because the bid ask ratio, if it's 1206 here, is going to be somewhere like, well, 1210 and 1200 kind of deal. So 1210 to buy and maybe 1200 to sell in that area. 1206 would probably be one of them, either the bid or the ask. Now let's move on to Dent, which is one that's been getting its ass destroyed. For Satoshi, we can see it's 4 and 5, and it has been for days here as well, since like August the 5th, for like almost 3 weeks. It has been 4 and 5 Satoshi. Well, we can see it was 25 here. It was 30 back here. And when this thing got going, this was barely under 100. Well, these coins are either going to go to nothing, or they're going to go way up after they've gotten their ass destroyed. Okay. Well, when coins do go to nothing, basically, what you're going to see is on here, the bid ask ratio, what's the worst it can get? And that is 1-0. Well, before it gets to 1-0, it would be 2-1, which means the book would look something like this. There's sell orders at 2, 3, 4, and all those other numbers, and there's a buy order at 1. So if you'd want to sell, you'd have to sell at 1, buy at 2. And then getting past that, then when somebody sells this off completely, now it's 2 and there isn't anything. So either you'd have to put a buy order to bring it back to 2-1, or you put a sell order in at 1. And then if you do that, other people match it. You could have like 7 Bitcoin available to I hear. And now if you want to sell it on this exchange, you just gotta you can't even take any offer price because there isn't any, and you'd have to go at 1 and wait your turn like everybody else. But when they go to nothing, that's why these other exchanges work out, like the Ethereum exchange and the Binance Coin exchange as we have this even the dollar exchange. Now we have 234 Satoshi against Ethereum. So if that goes to 1.0, well then this would go down accordingly. And if this one would go to 1.0, well then maybe you trade it on the Doji exchange if whenever it comes back again. And in conclusion for this coin, looking at it on the log scale, well, it's either going to go down to like 321, or maybe it goes up to 11, or maybe it goes up to 25. Maybe it can go up further and break this high or match this high. Each level is easier than the other, meaning it's easier to go up to 11 to 26. In fact, it's guaranteed if it goes to 26, it goes to 11. But what's the chances it goes up here? I'm not going to answer it, but they're lower for each one. Each level you go higher, the chances get lower. But the profitability, if you buy at 4 or 5 and it goes to 12, 13, 14, 15, and you can sell there, you can get 2, 3, 4, 5x gains on it. And we'll finish it off with Pun DX. I'll put in the log scale at the end, but as we can see on the 3-day chart here, it's at 5 Satoshi. Back in 2018, this thing was as high as 215. And it's been, of course, in a precipitous fall. Now with the bid-ask ratio primarily been 4 and 5, although a couple days here, for a couple times, once here and once again in here, it did dip down to 3. There has been no hits of the 6, so the 5 ask ratio has not been taken in. One of the things you want to focus on is if you're going to be trading this, well, what's the current volume for how big the bid and the ask is? If you see a situation where the ask price of 5 is worth 3 Bitcoin and the bid price of 4 is worth 50 Bitcoin, then it might look like it's going to get taken out, the ask price, that is. And it could be the opposite. You could see 5 having maybe 80 Bitcoin and 4 having 7 or 10. And then you can see where it's favored, more likely to go. And I think the Ethereum and all the other markets would notice that a little bit as well. But understanding those books, how the volume works within it, and the more knowledge you have within these types of markets, the better off you're going to be to develop strategies, of course, for winning within this game. And looking at this on the log scale, just went down to 4 just now, but here we can see just continuous straight down movement. Hasn't even had, not only does it not had a test of the 18 average of highs in any real recent time, but hasn't even gotten above it. But yeah, it hasn't even got a test of it. It's just been grinding and continuously been going lower. Right now, the 18 average of highs would come in pretty much at 6. So it'd have to break this 5 handle to get to that. And then it'd move to 7, of course, to get it above it. Not much more for me to go over. Just wanted to just mention these. I'm not playing any of these, but I thought I'd just share how I look at them as it is. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye bye.